What's up, everybody? Kevin Wagstaff here. I'm one of the owners and founders of Spectora, and I found it necessary to do a video on the different factors and what inspectors should be considering when choosing a home inspection software, whether they're a new inspector or an experienced inspector evaluating options. I came to this conclusion to make this video because I just got back from a conference and I realized so many inspectors, even experienced ones, didn't fully understand the things they should even be considering when thinking of using software, especially the ones that are using a word-based home inspection reporting system. So I want to lay these things out, and I want to preface this by saying the fact that I own a home inspection software company doesn't mean that I can't still tell you the good things to evaluate. So yeah, I'm biased, but at the same time, I also don't think every inspector should use Spectora. I actually want everyone to use what works for them based on these things that I'm going to lay out. So let's jump in. So one of the biggest things I see inspectors missing the boat on is efficiency. So I think being efficient means writing reports in an efficient manner on site and also at home. So whether you're an experienced inspector or new, you want to be as efficient as possible with your taps. So there's technical efficiency with the mobile app, how quickly you can document a defect. So it's very important to think about that, whether you're experienced or new. New inspectors, you don't know what you don't know yet. But as you get busier and scale up your business, this is going to eat into your profitability if you can't efficiently do an inspection. So efficiency, you want to think about things like, okay, how do I save a comment for future use in my template? How long does it take to document a given defect? Does the summary auto generate so I'm not having to put together a summary? I hear that all the time. And if you guys are making your summary each time you do a report, I think you're wasting time. If you're spending time on formatting, dragging pictures around, changing font sizes and spacing, these are things that generally don't matter to the buyer and agent, and you're wasting your time. So the big trap here is if you're an experienced inspector and you think to yourself, I've done it this way for 10 years, I've done this way for 20 years. That's the trap that's getting in your way because you're stuck into the mindset. You have confirmation bias for the way you've done it. And so you want to think about, are you truly being as efficient as possible doing a home inspection report, whether on site or at home? The second thing is the final product, the end product that the agents and buyers get, which is the actual report. So evaluate your report with fresh eyes, compare it to competitors, look at what else is out there in the world that people are experiencing online. Now ask yourself, does your report stack up to that? Does your report, is it easy to read? Is it easy to use? Not to you, but ask 10 friends that are not home inspectors if your report is easy to use, easy to understand, and easy to extract what you need to know from. I think many experienced inspectors fall into the trap of thinking, oh, my agents and buyers love my reports. They've used me for years. Sometimes agents will use you because they don't know any better. They don't have an alternative, and they're just used to the relationship, which is fine. And props to you for building that relationship. But if someone comes along and shows them something better that saves them time or headaches, that could be at risk. And you don't want to open yourself up to that if you're an experienced inspector. If you're new, you need to look around the world and understand that technology has evolved, and 80-page PDFs full of text is not easy to look at. And if I wasn't in this business, I still would hate 80-page PDFs that are hard to read. So it's something that I think you need to consider your final product, and not from a cover your ass perspective primarily. Yes, you got a CYA, you have to think about what you're putting in your reports, but the final product can de-emphasize certain things, or it can prioritize, say, the photos or the major safety hazards that the agents and buyers care about. So think of your final product as an experience, as a technological document that people need to use to do their jobs better, because that's how agents look at it. I was one, I promise you. And that's how buyers view your report, is just a document for them to get on with their day so they can close on this house. So think about it as this document that needs to be useful, needs to be usable and helpful, not just how can you spit out as much information as possible so you can feel good about it. Because the biggest thing we need to get out of the mindset of is this industry as inspectors is not being confused with what you like and your perceptions and opinions. Don't confuse that with what average everyday buyers and agents want and need. So reliability and responsiveness is a big third thing to consider when thinking of home inspection software. So you obviously want a company and a business that is in this business full time. Like all they do is focus on software and maintaining it and making it stable and reliable. So everyone's going to have bugs. Spectora has bugs, Apple has bugs, Google has, all these companies have bugs in their software. I think what you need to ask about is how do you respond to bugs as a software provider? How quickly do you respond? How do you document issues? How do you follow up on them and get them fixed? Because I think it's how companies respond is what you should be thinking about as a home inspector, not do you ever have crashes? Do you ever have something go wrong? Because every company is going to have something go wrong. It's how they respond to it. And so overall reliability and stability is a factor. And that's usually you can gauge that by how committed the company is to this industry. Are they a legitimate company? How many full-time staff do they have that only work in this business to support you? All things to consider. And one thing I can tell you is most software companies in this industry are not in it full time, or they are not rapidly innovating and trying to grow it. So that whittles it down to a couple right there. But you want people that are in this for the long term and in this to create a sustainable company. Another thing to consider is the types of business tools that come with the software. So it's desirable, I've heard, to have everything under one roof, such as agreements, payments, online scheduling, contacts management, metrics, things like this. So if everything's under one roof, if that's something you want or desire, then I say think about that, ask about that, see if you can get that package all in one. Support, one of my favorite things because we live and breathe support. So you need to find out how responsive the support is of any software company you're thinking about working with, because I guarantee you're going to be in the field and something's going to go wrong, and you're going to need to either write into their chat, you're going to need to have a phone call, or find a resource to help you get through that inspection. There's going to be crashes, there's going to be things that go wrong. So accept that right up front and say, I understand technology, especially innovative technology, is going to have bugs, but find out how good their support is. Read reviews, test it out right into their chat, or book a phone call and see what the experience is like. Test out the support, test drive that before you actually have to experience it when you're in a compromised situation. Cost. You were wondering when I was going to get to this one. It's my favorite topic, but I left it for last for a reason. I think our industry naturally starts with cost because of where we came from as an industry, where software used to be free. You used to be able to just download off a CD-ROM and have it forever because technology wasn't innovating and rapidly getting better, whereas now it is. And you can't just have downloadable software that you update every couple years because you're going to get left behind as a company and as an inspector that uses that. So evaluate cost for what you get for the cost, exactly what it should be, cost versus value. So if cost alone is your most important factor, I would challenge you to evaluate that and think about why, and think about what you're not going to get by prioritizing costs with the tool you're going to use the most every day. So we were purposely the most expensive software in the industry because we knew what it took, and we knew what it took to support that and what it was going to take to get the value up to that cost. So think about cost in terms of the time you spend, the value you get, and the headaches that you get or save by investing in a certain product or service. So we're obviously fans of earning people's business every month and every year. So, and we charge on an ongoing basis because we've seen the benefits of that both to the inspector and to us to be sustainable as a company where we can just run a good business and charge a fair price for it. So think of the cost in terms of value and time as another currency and another variable, because most inspectors tend to just lead with cost, and then I've seen it play out where down the road, their time, their energy, their headaches are all these other factors that they didn't consider before. And it's drastically changed the future of their business. So this is not just a now factor. This is stuff that extrapolates and builds over time. And I'd encourage everybody to consider that from the beginning, or consider that when you are switching, is that you're getting stuff for the cost. And that's the hope, right? Is that if you're paying for something, you got to be getting value or time or less headaches back. And especially new inspectors, I would encourage the new inspectors that are watching this to think about the cost of free. There's always something on the back end, or some ways that data or the clients have to be monetized for someone to provide something as complex as software for free. And so find out who owns the company, find out the motivations, find out exactly what the cost of is free, But if you're looking at not of using the software that's not free, then think about what you're getting for the value. And I'd say look at the per inspection versus the monthly fees and see what you can tolerate early on. But something that I know you guys use for hours a day and is a primary marketing product for you, and what kind of what you hang your hat on at the end of the day, what you leave people with. I don't think that's an area to skimp on. And I believe that as an agent when I was looking at software, when I was the consumer. And I try to take that approach to many things in my life, is that if this is primarily what it's going to take to grow our business, let's invest in it and do it well. So to summarize all that up, I completely empathize. I'm a business owner myself. So if anyone understands saving on costs and running a lean business, it's me. And I think we've done it well here. But I think you can't do that at the cost of productivity, at the cost of growing your business, the cost of marketing your business, because your time is your only non-renewable resource. And so I think when you find efficient tools that have great support and have everything under one roof, you're starting yourself out on a good step. You're starting yourself out on a good note as a new inspector. And I think experienced inspectors, they have the most to lose because they've built up these relationships over time. And you're going to hit a ceiling if you can't scale, if you can't work on efficiency and save your inspectors time. So I think when you're evaluating new software, it's all about efficiency. It's all about dialing your process in to allow yourself to grow to get to that next level that we're seeing in companies like IEB and such. So all things to consider. I hope this helped. I hope this gives you things that you should be thinking about as opposed to maybe falling victim to the crowd think or the herd mentality. So hope this was helpful, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.